Hi, my name is Faith, and welcome to my corner of hope. The month of July usually comes to me with mixed emotions. This is because it bears with it some unpleasant memories. So, 15 years ago, my mom was involved in a road traffic accident that claimed some lives, and she lost her right leg. So, for those 15 years, I have been a caregiver. And I'm going to share with you my reflection on my caregiving journey as a way of reminding another family caregiver that they are not alone and that they can serve and thrive in their caregiving experience. So I'm going to share with you how I got the news and what I felt around that time and how the journey has been. So in this particular video, I'm going to share with you how I received the news and what happened after that. And then I'll do another to share with you how the experience has been and the lessons that I have learned along the way. I hope that this will inspire you and remind you that there's nothing that you'll go through in this life that you can't overcome. It was an exam season and I was in Form 2. And on that particular day, we were doing a geography paper. And then when I was done doing the paper, I slept. Like I used to do my exam really fast and then so that I can have time to nap. So I slept. And then I remember my English teacher then came to call me. I didn't understand why, but I just went. So I thought she called me because I was sleeping and other people were doing the exam. So I went with her to the office, and as we were going, she called my brother as well. And so we went together to the principal's office. In my head, I was like, yo, why are we going to the principal's office? What has happened? Are we going home? Is there a party? Is there anybody flying out? Or what has happened? I didn't think about death really, or I didn't think about something bad. I had thoughts of probably somebody has died, but I denied it. I kept pushing the thought away. And so when we walked into the principal's office, she looked at me and my brother and she asked whether we had finished the exam. And I said yes. My brother was doing his Form 4 mock exam. And so she told us that we are needed home, that my brother called and we are needed home. And then she asked if we had transport. And then she said that the teacher on duty was going to give us some money. So she asked us to go to the dormitory and take our bags. Okay. Now I had so many questions in my head because she didn't tell us anything. So when we came with our bags, this particular teacher asked if we knew that our mother had gone for a mission trip. Then I was like, yeah, I had an idea that she had said that she was to go for a mission trip somewhere. And then she was like, yeah, they traveled with some ladies, but unfortunately their bus got an accident. Then now my thoughts began racing. And I started imagining what could have happened. I imagined probably she broke her neck or her back. I imagined her not walking again. And then I started imagining who could possibly have gone with her in the trip. And she was like, yes, there are some other people who died. But your mom has some injuries, but she is fine. However, your brother has said that you guys have to go see her. Now I began having balancing tears. And then this teacher said that be strong, she'll be fine, God will be with you. From that time, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything she said after that. And so my brother and I walked. I remember the watchman talking to us, but I didn't hear what he said. So we walked with my brother. I didn't talk to him. I just didn't want to talk to anyone. I wanted to go see my mother. So when we got to Nairobi, my brother was hungry. And so we went and bought some fries. He ate, I didn't eat. I didn't feel like eating. I was not hungry. I just wanted to see my mother. And so we left that place, and then we went to meet my big brother, who was to take us to the hospital. That was around 3, because we were to be there by 4. And so my brother was concerned, my big brother was concerned. He was like, have you guys eaten? And then my brother said no. And then we went into the supermarket, and he asked what I could take. I didn't want to eat anything at all. I just wanted to see my mother. But he insisted that you'll get hungry. Just pick something. So I remember I picked yogurt and a pack of cupcakes. And then we left. Then I realized I didn't even carry us through, because I was not focused on eating. I just wanted to see my mother. So we got to the hospital right in time for the visiting hours. So we took the stairs and we went to the orthopedic floor. And the first sight that I saw gave me chills. The first ward was occupied by male patients, and most of them had their orthopedic cast. Some had their foot elevated up and hanging on something. I don't know what it's called. Others had an arm sling. Others had a neck support brace. Others had bandages on their heads. So it was just scary. So after seeing those male patients, now I got scared. I didn't know what to expect. And we walked a few steps, and soon we were at my mom's ward. And then my brother said hi to some nurse. And I looked at my other brother, the one we came with from school, and he seemed to be distant. He didn't want to get in. And it's as though I was borrowing his strength. And I also didn't want to enter now. There were many people around there. Okay, I have no problem with people visiting, but there were many people around there. And you see, this is the first time I was seeing my mother. I really wanted to just be there for a moment, cry, absorb what is happening, and then maybe be fine or adjust to the new life. But there was no room for that. So some of these people were people I knew. So I just said hi to them, and I acted strong, because that's what they kept on telling us. Somebody will greet me and give me a pat on the back, and they'll be like, be strong, be strong. I'm like, yo, strong for who? For what? But I thank God that I met one of our family friends. She was a medical student. So I stood with her. Then at that time, I didn't even know what injuries my mom had. I only saw a swelling on her face, and I was like, it's just that. And her arm had dislocated, her left arm had dislocated. And I was like, that's easy, that she'll recover. She's not badly off. I didn't know what was waiting for me. Though people had crowded the space, I somehow managed to greet my mother, but we didn't even have much time together with her. She just held my hand, and the focus shifted to the people who came to visit her. And so I pulled myself away and I walked out. I went outside. And then I waited until it was time for us to leave. So we left and we went home with my brother. We went to his place. So at this time, my stomach was bloated. I was so bored. I just had mixed feelings. I had so many questions, and life had just shifted. So when we went to my brother's place, I didn't eat. I remember they had bought some fries and they prepared a chicken, but I didn't have appetite completely. So I remember just taking a few bites, and then I gave my other brother the rest of my food. And then my brother took us to my other brother's place. And that's where we spent the night. I didn't sleep. Now the images that I saw in the hospital kept on coming to my mind. And I felt so traumatized. When I would try to sleep like this, I would have nightmares. I'd imagine those people with the orthopedic cast chasing me. I would imagine my mother having bandages all over, and it was just crazy. It was just crazy. So I didn't sleep. I was just sweating through the night, and then there were so many mosquitoes in that house. So I was glad when the morning broke, and finally I got to drink my yogurt and eat the cupcakes, because now it was morning and I had spent the previous day without food. Now I was hungry, and we left. We managed to get there earlier than the other guests, and I was excited that I now had time to at least see her, absorb the moment, and then get to probably hear what happened. But there was something strange about her bed. Her blanket was not flat. It was raised a bit. It seemed as though there was a stool underneath, or a ball, or a table, a small table. What I came to learn later is that there was a nurse who carelessly threw something on her bed, and it hit the stump because the wound was still fresh, and it caused her so much pain. So the senior nurse brought in a cage to protect the stump. So I didn't know all these things until another guest came in, and then my mother opened the blanket. Then that's when I saw a big bandage. It was like the size of a child's head. You know how you'd put on a Marvin, a white Marvin? So that's how my mom's leg looked like. It was such a big bandage, and it was long. And I saw that, and I got lost in my thoughts, and I felt so confused, and I felt alone. I felt cold. That's a moment I wouldn't want to go back to. And I just looked outside. So I turned and I walked to the window. And then I tried not to cry. Now this time tears had come from wherever they were hiding from, or from wherever I was restraining them from. But I didn't want to cry. And then I came back. So I asked that medical student what happened. Then she told me, "You don't know?" I was like, "Yeah." And she told me what happened. She's the one who narrated the story to me, and that now my mom didn't have her right leg. I felt pity for my mother. I felt bad that she won't be able to care for us like she did. I didn't know how to address it. I didn't know how to address it with God. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know whether I should pray for her leg to grow, or I just didn't know how life would be after that. But the medical student gave me hopes that, yeah, she can get a prosthetic leg and then she can walk again. But yeah, that served its purpose for that day. And since then, life has never been the same again. So after all that, now I didn't want to stay around her. I was in a state that I still can't describe. I wanted to mourn, but I didn't know how. I needed space to just be vulnerable. But that wasn't possible in that situation, because other people would come and they'll be like, "Oh, thank God your mom is alive." Others would come and they'll be like, "Oh, be strong for your mother." And it was so confusing. And I think since then, I somehow stopped living life in my age for that season, quote unquote, for that season. Because now I had to adjust into this life of giving care and taking care of my mother. So when we went back to school, now school gave me that environment to be vulnerable. I remember I would cry at night and I would find moments to be alone and just cry. And I really thank God for my friends who gave me a shoulder to lean on and to just cry. As the days were drawing closer to us going home, I would dread the thought of going to see my mother in hospital because I didn't know how long she would be in hospital and I didn't know how life would be after that. But I thank God that He came through for me through two teachers. There are two female teachers who chose to take us home. So they wanted to see my mother. And so it really took off the burden of dreading the lonely journey to Nairobi. And so when we got to hospital, my mom was happy to see them. It felt so nice that they cared. It spoke to me that I was not alone. And somehow I felt that we could bear the burden. The lessons that I learned from the experience that I've just shared with you are, number one, we may never have answers to the questions that we ask God concerning the misfortunes that we face in life. We may feel as though we are alone in that season, or we are the only ones feeling the pain and the burden. The truth is, we are never alone. Though we may never have answers to all the questions that we ask God or all the questions that we have, God always sends someone or some people to cushion you in that season. And for me, it was that medical student who stood by me and the teachers who took us to hospital. They were a big reminder from God that I was not alone, or we were not alone. Next week, I'm going to share with you what happened after my mom was discharged and the lessons that I learned in that season. Remember to share this with your friends because you never know which life will be inspired. I'll see you next time. God bless you.